The court said, and the prosecution may call its next witness.
Mr. Finkel said, the government calls Margaret Murphy.
The law clerk said, would you please pull the mic really close to you and raise your right hand?
Witness sworn.
The law clerk said, thank you.
The court said, please state your name and spell it.
The witness said, sure. It's Margaret Murphy. M-A-R-G-A-R-E-T. Last name Murphy. M-U-R-P-H-Y.
The court said, you may inquire.
Mr. Finkel said, thank you, Your Honor.
Margaret Murphy, called as a witness by the government, having been duly sworn, testified as follows. Direct examination. By Mr. Finkel.
Where do you work?
For FBI New York.
And what is your title?
Special Agent.
Special Agent Murphy, how long have you been with the FBI?
Since March 2016.
And what office are you assigned to?
New York.
What is the ERT?
ERT is the Evidence Response Team.
And what does the ERT do as a sort of general matter?
ERT will collect forensic evidence or assist squads with executing search warrants.
Do you have a particular role with ERT?
I'm an assistant team leader for one of the teams, and I'm a photographer as well.
What sort of training, if any, is an ERT member required to have?
We're required to attend an ERT basic training, where we're trained in different forensic methods for collecting evidence.
I want to direct your attention to March 15th, 2023. What, if anything, did you do in connection with your ERT assignment on that day?
I was the photographer for a search warrant.
And where was that search?
It was at the Sherry Netherland, which was 781 Fifth Avenue.
Right here in Manhattan?
Yes.
You mentioned there was a search warrant. Did the FBI in fact have a search warrant that day?
Yes, we did.
And what did the search warrant permit the FBI to do, if anything?
It permitted us to conduct a search of the 18th floor apartment and to collect evidence related to certain crimes.
And Special Agent Murphy, I'm just going to ask if you can direct the mic. Point it at your mouth so that it picks up your voice and everyone can hear you.
Sure.
Feel free to move it so it's comfortable for you, all right? Thank you. Special Agent Murphy. Did the FBI also have an arrest warrant that day?
Yes, we did.
And was anyone arrested on March 15th, 2023 at the Sherry Netherland?
Yes.
Who?
Miles Gov't.
Mr. Finkel said, Your Honor, at this time the government offers a stipulation, GXSTIP 3. I'm just going to offer it. Government offers Stip 3.
The court said, it is admitted.
Government's Exhibit Stip 3 received in evidence.
Mr. Finkel said, and Mr. Gartland, or Ms. Loftus, if we can please publish GX Stip 3. Okay. And if you can scroll down a little bit, please, Ms. Loftus. If called as a witness at trial, a special agent of the FBI would testify as follows. On March 15, 2023, special agents and other FBI employees executed a lawful search of the Sherry Netherland, 781 Fifth Avenue, 18th floor, New York, New York. During the course of that search, FBI personnel took photographs of interior spaces of the Sherry Netherland.
The interpreter said, Your Honor, the interpreter is requesting the counsel to move at a pace so we can interpret.
The court said, if you'll just slow down.
Mr. Finkel said, I'm sorry. During the course of that search, FBI personnel took photographs of interior spaces of the Sherry Netherland, 781 Fifth Avenue, 18th floor, New York, New York, and also lawfully seized items, documents, and electronic devices. GXSH1, GXSH206 are fair and accurate photographs of interior spaces of the Sherry Netherland, 781 Fifth Avenue, 18th floor, New York, New York. that were lawfully captured by an FBI photographer on March 15, 2023. And Your Honor, at this time the government offers GXSH1 through GXSH206.
The court said, they are admitted.
Government's exhibits SH1 through SH206 received in evidence.
Mr. Finkel said, we can take that down, Ms. Loftus.
By Mr. Finkel.
Special Agent Murphy, can you just briefly describe the search on March 15, 2023, of the 18th floor of the Sherry Netherland Hotel? What took place? What did you do, as a general matter?
Sure. So we entered the premises, once it was cleared, did a walkthrough of the apartment. And then took photographs of the apartment as it was before we searched it. And then also collected evidence to include electronic devices, some clothing items, documentation, and some other items, and photographed those as well, and then conducted exit photos and concluded the search. SH48.
Mr. Finkel said, Ms. Loftus, if we can publish GXSH2 and Special Agent Murphy, what are we looking at in SH2 and SH48?
This is the elevator landing of the 18th floor that opens to the apartment that we searched.
How many apartments are on the 18th floor?
Just one.
How large is it?
Fairly large.
How long does it take to walk from sort of one side to the other?
It would take several minutes.
Are there any exterior spaces on the 18th floor?
Yes, there are also 2 terraces.
Did you go out on the terraces?
Yes, I did, to photograph them.
And what do they overlook?
Central Park.
Are there any buildings obstructing the view of Central Park?
No.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can look at SH3, please. And Special Agent Murphy, what are we looking at here?
This is the dining room. I believe it was room A for the purposes of our search.
Mr. Finkel said, and Ms. Loftus, you can zoom in sort of on the wallpaper. Those images on the wall, can you describe for the jury how they were present there, if at all?
It appears to me that it was wallpaper.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can please look at SH6. Ms. Loftus, if we can zoom in on the lower half from the sort of top of the windowsill, a little further up. No. A little further up. Yup. All the way to the bottom. Special Agent Murphy, what is that silver cube-like object in the windowsill?
I believe it's an espresso machine.
And what's below the espresso machine?
There's a tote bag.
And what's it say on it?
The new federal state of China.
Special Agent Murphy, aside from your testimony here today and your search on March 15, 2023, were you otherwise involved in this case?
No.
Why then were you involved in the search?
It's very typical for ERT members and other agents and support staff to assist in execution of search warrants for other cases.
Do you know what the new federal state of China is?
I do not.
Or why that's imprinted on a tote bag?
I do not.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can please look at GXSH207. Could we rotate that? If we could display for the witness only GXSH207. Special Agent Murphy, what is GXSH207?
This is a layout of the 18th floor of the Sherry Netherland.
And is it a fair and accurate layout of the 18th floor of the Sherry Netherland?
Yes.
Mr. Finkel said, the government offers GXSH207.
Mr. Kamaraju said, no objection.
The court said, it is admitted.
Government's Exhibit SH207 received in evidence.
Mr. Finkel said, if we could publish that, please. Special Agent Murphy, there appear to be letters in various places on this map. Can you explain to the jury why that is?
Yes. So we assign room labels to each room in the area that we're searching, so that we can trace back where we found each piece of evidence.
Mr. Finkel said, And Ms. Loftus, if you can zoom in on the right side of this, please. Keep going. And scroll down a little bit, please. Okay. What's the letter for the master bedroom?
Room P.
And to the left of that, what room is letter Q?
That's the dressing room.
And what about letter N? What's that?
That's a walk-in closet.
And did you enter the walk-in closet, master bedroom, and dressing room?
Yes, I did.
And can you describe to the members of the jury how, if at all, those rooms are connected?
Yeah, they're all connected to the master bedroom through doorways, but yeah. They're all connected.
Mr. Finkel said, all right. If we can please look at GXSH19. Special Agent Murphy, what is this an image of?
This is room N, the walk-in closet.
And this is the walk-in closet connected to the master bedroom?
Yes, it is.
And that piece of paper that says N on it, was that there when FBI arrived?
No.
Can you describe why it's there?
Those are the room labels I was describing earlier. We put it up as we're taking entry photos.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can look at GXSH15 and 16. Is this that same closet?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can look at SH130. Is SH130 a photograph from that same closet?
Yes, it is.
By the way, who took these photographs?
I did.
Mr. Finkel said, all right. Ms. Loftus, if we can display SH165 and 164. Special Agent Murphy, are these photographs also taken in that same closet N?
Yes, they were.
Mr. Finkel said, and Ms. Loftus, you can zoom in on the right, the label, please. Special Agent Murphy, what does the label inside the suit pocket hanging in closet N say?
It says Brioni for Miles Kwok.
What's Brioni?
It's a high-end men's clothing line.
Mr. Finkel said, and if we can look at SH167 and 166. If we can zoom in, Ms. Loftus, on the right side. Special Agent Murphy, are these images from that same closet?
Yes, they are.
Similar label for Miles Kwok?
Yes.
Mr. Finkel said, and if we can now look at, please, GXSH28 and GXSH29. Special Agent Murphy, what are photographs SH28 and SH29?
This is an item we seized during the search warrant.
And where are these photographs taken?
This is the master bedroom, room P.
And that's the master bedroom connected to the closet?
Yes.
And what is that on the bed?
It's a cell phone.
And where was that cell phone found?
It was found between the mattresses during the arrest and clear of the apartment.
It was found under the mattress.
Yes.
What's a knock and announce?
Knock and announce is typically what the FBI does before we execute a search warrant to alert the people inside the premises that the FBI is there and announce their presence.
What does the FBI do when it knocks and announces?
Typically knocks and announce and say, FBI, search warrant, come to the door.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can look at GXSH152. If we can zoom in on the right side, the top half. The right side, please. Ms. Loftus. Yeah. And what's that post-it note?
That's a post-it note with the names of the people who found the item and the room where they found it.
So this is room S?
Yes.
And what does it say on the document itself at the top?
G Club.
Do you know what G Club is?
I know it's an entity associated with Miles Gua, but I don't know anything else.
Mr. Finkel said, okay. Can we look at please SH153? What does that red card say?
Mileson.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can look at, please, SH156 and 157. What are we looking at in SH-156 and SH-157?
It's an international driving permit from Hong Kong, an exit and entry permit for Taiwan.
And the right side, the 157, are those documents open?
Yes.
And who are these documents for? Mr. Finkel said, Ms. Loftus, you can zoom in on the right side.
So the name is Kwok Ho Won for the driving permit.
And the post on the left in the zoomed-up part of the screen, where were these documents found?
These were found in room S, which was the study, in the top left drawer of a black desk.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can look at SH-149, can you zoom in, Ms. Loftus, so that we could see the note, the post-it? Where were these two items found?
They were also found in room S, which was a study, right top drawer of black desk.
Mr. Finkel said, okay. Zoom out of that, please. Can you zoom in, Ms. Loftus, on the two golden items? Can you zoom in on the one all the way on the left? We can look at SH-58, please. What is this?
This was another room in the apartment. I believe this was room X.
Special Agent Murphy, did you also take a number of photographs of other types of clothing?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Finkel said, could we look at SH-81 and 82? Are these the sorts of clothing that you took photographs of?
Yes.
Who selected which pieces of clothing to take photographs of?
We had a search team that was guided by the case agents who had knowledge of the case.
So did you select, or did they select?
They selected it.
Do you know what G-Fashion is?
I know it's an entity associated with Miles Gua, but that's all.
Special Agent Murphy, approximately how many photographs did you take on March 15, 2023?
It was over 700.
And the photographs that were admitted into evidence just before, and the photographs that were shown to you today. Did you have any role in selecting what photographs were shown?
I did not.
How many times did we meet before you testified today?
I think we met 4 or 5 times.
And aside from your testimony today and your search on March 15, 2023, did you have any other involvement in this case?
I did not.
Mr. Finkel said, nothing further.
The court said, cross-examination.
Mr. Kamraju said, thank you, Your Honor.
Cross-examination. By Mr. Kamraju.
Good afternoon, Special Agent Murphy.
Hi.
It is Friday afternoon, so I'm going to try to do this quickly, okay?
Okay.
I know you said you were with the evidence response team, correct?
Correct.
And part of the role of the evidence response team is to collect evidence and transport it back to FBI. The FBI field office, right?
Well, it depends. But usually the person responsible for transporting the evidence back to the field office. It could be someone from the case team, not necessarily someone on the evidence response team. It all depends who the seizing agent is.
Got it. But there's somebody with the FBI who is responsible for transporting the evidence back, right?
Correct.
And in terms of the Sherry Netherlands search, there were agents responsible for doing that there also. Right?
Yes.
Now, how did you arrive at the Sherry Netherlands that day?
Me personally.
Yes.
I drove my bureau-issued vehicle.
Okay. And where did you park?
I think I parked somewhere near 59th Street, near Central Park.
Do you know if the Sherry Netherlands has its own garage?
I don't know.
Now you testified I believe that the search warrant that was going to be executed was for the 18th floor apartment. Right?
Correct.
Okay. So, and the items to be seized, if any, were to be seized from that apartment, right?
Correct.
So the FBI was not permitted that day to seize a Bugatti, correct?
Mr. Finkel said, objection.
The court said, overruled. You may answer.
I was executing, part of a team executing one search warrant that was issued that day. I'm not sure if there were any other warrants that the FBI was authorized. So I can only speak to the search warrant for 781 Fifth Avenue.
Okay. Prior to conducting this search and arrest operation, the FBI held a briefing, right?
Yes.
And you attended the briefing, right?
Yes.
And the purpose of the briefing was to go over the operation, right?
Correct.
And to talk about what the FBI could and cannot do during the operation, right?
Yes.
And that's all standard, right?
Yes.
It's happened before every search warrant you've ever executed, right?
Yes.
Okay. And during that meeting there was no search warrant for a Bugatti discussed, right?
Mr. Finkel said, "Objection, Your Honor."
The court said you may answer.
I don't recall anything about a Bugatti.
Okay. Same answer with respect to any kind of Lamborghini, right?
Mr. Finkel said, "Your Honor, could we approach, actually?"
The court said yes.
Continued on next page. At the sidebar.
Mr. Finkel said, "So, Your Honor, as this court knows, there is, every piece of evidence that's being offered at this trial is lawful. The seizure of the Bugatti was lawful. The seizure of the Lamborghini was lawful. If the defense counsel wants to ask, was a Bugatti found, or was a Lamborghini found at the Sherry Netherland? That's a fair question. But he should not suggest that the seizure of the Bugatti and the seizure of the Lamborghini were something outside a search warrant that the government wasn't lawfully permitted to do. That's number one. Number two, I don't understand the relevance of what was seized at other locations on other dates and times.
The court said, so were the cars seized?
Mr. Finkel said, the Lamborghini was seized on March 15, 2023, in Connecticut, which Special Agent McNamara testified to. The Bugatti was seized, I think, about a month or so later from Post Oak.
The court said so he can ask, do you know anything about search warrants for cars?
Mr. Finkel said, that's fine. I just don't want them implying that the seizures were unlawful or improper.
The court said, I do not think that the average person would get that impression at all.
Mr. Kamraju said, first of all, Your Honor, my question didn't go anywhere near that. Secondly, Your Honor is going to instruct the jury that there were lawful seizures. This is just, in my opinion, fairly routine. Standard questions for an agent who conducted a search. I'm not trying to suggest that any search was unlawful. I don't have any reason to. If I would have challenged the search warrant. I'm just trying to get through the search.
Mr. Finkel said, so, Your Honor, I'd ask at the conclusion of the cross that you instruct the jury. The government would request that all the seizures in this case were lawful.
Mr. Kamraju said, that's part of your jury instructions at the end of the trial.
Mr. Finkel said, but why are you asking the questions now?
Mr. Kamraju said, if I wanted to argue that the searches were unlawful, the time for it was before. No question I have asked suggests that the searches were unlawful. They know perfectly well that I'm allowed on cross or in summation to talk about where the cars were found. All I'm doing is saying.
Mr. Finkel said, Your Honor.
Mr. Kamraju said, excuse me, Mr. Finkel. All I'm doing is saying that the FBI didn't go to that house to try to find a Bugatti or a Lamborghini or anything else. And they weren't found. I'm not saying it was improper for the FBI to do that. I'm not throwing any aspersions to it. I'll be done with there in 2 questions and then we'll be moving on.
Mr. Finkel said, I have no objection to defense counsel asking was a Bugatti. Were you looking for a Bugatti? But not whether you had a search warrant for a Bugatti, because in fact, we did have one. We got one later.
Mr. Kamraju said, okay. I can clarify the question and say, you didn't have a search warrant for a Bugatti at the address of the Sherry Netherland.
Mr. Finkel said, "What is the relevance of saying search warrant? Why not just say, were you looking for a Bugatti there?"
Mr. Kamraju said, "Frankly, that implies that the search might be unlawful."
Mr. Finkel said, "So that then you agree that the seizure of the Bugatti and the Lamborghini were lawful. Do you agree with that?"
Mr. Kamraju said, "Yes, because I did not file a motion to suppress."
Mr. Finkel said, "Then we should just have an instruction."
Mr. Kamraju said, "No."
The court said, "I don't think the instruction is necessary. You can ask the questions."
Mr. Kamraju said, "Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it."
In open court.
The court said, "You may continue."
By Mr. Kamraju.
All right. So I think I left off. There was no search warrant to seize a Lamborghini at that address either, right?
Not on March 15th, to my knowledge.
Okay. And to your knowledge there was no search warrant to seize a Ferrari from that address, right?
Not for March 15th, 2023, to my knowledge.
Mr. Kamraju said, "Okay. Now could we pull up GXSH 207, which I believe is already in evidence?" Okay. So this is could we make sure the jury has it too, please? Thank you. All right. So this is the layout, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you prepare this diagram?
I did not.
The court said, "One moment, please."
Mr. Kamraju said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor."
Pause.
The court said, "Go ahead."
Mr. Kamraju said, "Thank you. So you testified that you went out onto 2 different terraces, correct?"
Correct.
Okay. So on the diagram, I think there are 3 terraces that are identified. So could you just tell us which ones you want out and photographed?
Right. I recall the 2 longer ones. I see there's also a terrace in the master bedroom. I think I forgot to, when I was referencing the terraces, I forgot about that one.
The court said, "Mr. Kamraju, if you would tell me the number of this exhibit, the floor plan."
Mr. Kamraju said, "Yes, Your Honor. It is GXSH 207.
The court said, "Thank you."
Mr. Kamraju said, "Sure. Okay. But do you recall whether you took photographs on the 3rd terrace as well?"
I can't recall offhand. I'd have to reference my photo log.
Okay. Now before. You testified on direct about the elevator bay to enter the Sherry Netherlands apartment, right?
Correct.
Now the elevator goes up from the lobby up to the 18th floor, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And when you're in the lobby, there's security, right?
I don't recall there being security that day, 'cause I think we were accessing through multiple elevators. There was a service elevator as well. So I'm not sure about the security guard's presence there.
So just so we're clear, the elevator that you took. Did that lead out into that elevator bay that you photographed or did you have to walk there?
I don't recall.
Mr. Kamraju said, "Okay. Could we have government exhibits GXSH 164, 166, and 167? Those 2 are fine for right now. Thanks." So you remember testifying on direct about these?
Yes.
Right? And you identified them as Brioni suits, right?
Yes.
And I think you said Brioni was a high-end men's suit company, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you have no idea when these suits were bought, right?
Sorry. I didn't hear.
You have no idea when these suits were bought, right?
Correct. I don't know.
You have no idea when any article of clothing in the apartment was purchased, right?
Right.
You just came and took photographs of what you saw in the closet, right?
Correct.
Now let's stick with clothing. Mr. Kamraju said, "Can we go to GXSH 81 and 82? All right. You testified about taking photographs of these, right?
Yes.
Now is this how the clothes appeared in the apartment?
No. These were put there for the purpose of taking photographs.
And were they in any kind of like wrapping or plastic before they were photographed?
I don't know.
Okay. Who would have put them here for you to take these photographs?
One of the members of the search team.
Okay.
The court said. So it is now 3 p.m.
Mr. Kamraju said, I thought I could do it, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
The court said. So members of the jury, it's time for you to have your weekend. Remember that you're not allowed to discuss this case amongst yourselves, or with anyone else. Don't permit anyone to discuss the case in your presence. Don't read, watch, or listen to anything from any source about anything having to do with the subject matter of this case. I wish you a good weekend. We will start in the morning on Monday at 9:30. We're going back to the other schedule. 9 o'clock you'll have your breakfast ready for you. Have a good weekend.
The juror said, thank you.
Jury not present.
The court said, ma'am, you may step out. Don't discuss your testimony. And I'll need for you to be in the courtroom on Monday at 9:29.
The witness said, yes, Your Honor. Witness not present.
The court said, you may be seated. Is there anything before we break for the weekend?
Mr. Kamraju said, not from the defense, Your Honor.
Mr. Finkel said, nor the government. Have a nice weekend.
The court said, have a nice weekend.
Mr. Kamraju said, thank you, Your Honor.
Adjourned to June 10, 2024, at 9 a.m.